Open the cab and personal brake test on a Class 442 unit. First and foremost, check that the line indicator is illuminated. The driver's reminder appliance is in the on position. Place the driver's brake valve into the emergency position. And place the brake selector switch to the EP brake position. Insert the master key into the master switch. Unlock the master switch and reset the AWS. Wait 7 seconds for a click and then bring the driver's brake valve back to the running and release position. The brake pipe will now charge. As the brake cylinder pressure starts to release, maintain the train with approximately 2 bar in the brake cylinders. The brake pipe is charged to 5 bar and we have 6.5 bar in the main reservoir. Place the brake selector switch to the auto brake position. Ensure the brake pipe reduces but the brake cylinder pressure increases. Make 2 further applications of the auto brake. Checking each time there is a reduction in brake pipe pressure and the brake cylinder pressure increases. Place the driver's brake valve to emergency, ensuring the brake pipe drops to 0. Place the brake selector switch back to the EP brake position. Check the EP brake flag shows on and recharge the brake pipe. Again, maintain the brake at 2 bar. With the master switch in the forward position, release the driver's safety device. The brake pipe will reduce and brake cylinder pressure. Reset the driver's safety device, again checking the brake pipe recharges. And maintain the train at 2 bar. In order to move a Class 442 unit, the driver must ensure the train is maintained with the brake and release the parking brake. The master switch is in the forward position, press and hold the parking brake release. Checking the parking brake flag now shows off. Maintain the Class 442 unit at a stand and wait for the ready to start. Shutting down the cab of a Class 442 unit. When the train is stationary, place the master switch to neutral. Set the driver's reminder appliance. Put the driver's brake valve to full service. Place the brake selector switch to the auto position. Then slowly move the driver's brake valve round to emergency. Ensuring that the brake pipe vents to 0. Place the master switch to off. Place the driver's brake valve back to the running and release position. Check the parking brake indicator now shows on. Turn the headlight off. Put the tail lights on. And remove the master key. Checking when you leave the driving cab of a Class 442, the brake pipe is at 0, the brake cylinder pressure remains steady, and the parking brake is on. Class 442 unit fails to move. Check the line indicator is illuminated. Check the fault indicator is normal. Check the door interlock light is illuminated. Press and hold overload reset for 5 seconds. Check the brake gauges are normal. The brake pipe is fully charged to 5 bar. And check the driver's reminder appliance is in the off position. Unable to obtain full power. Press and hold overload reset button for 5 seconds. And check the emergency rate switch is in the normal position. On each MLC, come to the control cupboard and check traction control MCB is set. If the MCB is set, the driver can reset the camshaft on a Class 442. Insert the EP key and turn anti-clockwise and hold. Turn the traction motor cutout switch to each position, pausing slightly. And return the traction motor cutout switch to position 1. That should now reset the camshaft. Under certain circumstances, it may be necessary for a driver to isolate traction motors on a Class 442 unit. In the MLC, insert the EP key and turn anti-clockwise. Move the traction motor cutout switch to position 2. That will isolate number 1 and 2 traction motors. Position 3 will isolate number 3 and 4 traction motors. And position 4 will isolate all 4 traction motors on a Class 442 unit. Driver's desk of a Class 442 unit is an auxiliary fault indicator light. Normal indication is out. If the auxiliary fault indicator is now illuminated and it is steady, it is an indication that the converter has failed and the standby battery charger has cut in. The possible fault for that indication is power supply MCB in DTSA on the rear cab bulkhead. If necessary, reset power supply MCB on the rear cab bulkhead. After resetting power supply MCB, it may take several minutes for the auxiliary converter to cut back in and the light to return back to its normal indication. The other indication on the fault panel will be a flashing yellow light. This indicates to the driver there could be possibly two MCBs that have tripped. Power supply MCB on the rear cab bulkhead on DTSA, and the battery charging circuit breaker located in the AC cupboard on DTSA. The location of the battery charging circuit breaker is in the AC cupboard on DTSA. Loss of air pressure on a class 442. Indication the main res pressure and brake pipe pressure will actually reduce. First thing, check the TPWS indication. Check the door interlock light, indication possibly of a door egress. Assist in bringing the train to a stand and place the driver's brake valve to emergency. The driver can now ascertain whether the fault is actually on the main res system or the fault on the brake pipe. The main reservoir pressure has recharged up to normal. This is an indication the fault is actually on the brake pipe itself. In order to locate the brake pipe defect on the unit, the driver must manually apply the parking brake on the leading cab. After the driver has checked the parking brake is applied, move the master switch to neutral, bring the driver's brake valve back to the running and release position in order to try and charge the brake pipe and locate the defect. Main reservoir fails to recharge. Indication the main res pressure is not actually charging, could indicate a loss of compressors on the unit. In the driving cab, check the line indicator light is illuminated. Once the driver has left the driving cab, if the compressors are not working on a class 442, the driver should now come to the MLC. Unlock the cupboard and check aux load shed number 2 MCB and reset if necessary. The driver should now check to ensure the compressors are now working. If control supply MCB has tripped, the driver will now need to come to ENV1 cupboard which is located on DTSA. Unlock the cupboard door and control supply MCB is located at the lower part of the panel. Reset control supply MCB. If after checking the MLC and aux load shed number 2 MCB, the driver should now come to the environment cupboard on the TS, the TSW and DTSB. Unlock the cupboard and check 2 circuit breakers, compressor control and compressor sync. Reset if necessary and check the compressor is now working. The effects of brake control MCB tripping on a class 442 unit. Brake pipe will reduce the full brake cylinder pressure and the EP brake indicator will show off. You will also hear a noise from the front of the train where the pressure is being exhausted into atmosphere. Brake control MCB is located on the rear cab bulkhead. Reset the circuit breaker. If brake control MCB fails to stand in the leading cab, the driver must now insert the EP key into the receptacle in order to release a flap which must be now pulled up to release the door mechanism to gain access to the 2 isolation cocks. Inside the cupboard is the TPWS and the driver's safety device. These 2 isolating cocks must now be operated. After the driver has isolated the driver's safety device and the TPWS, the train may now be worked forward using the auto brake only. If brake control MCB has tripped in any other cab, the driver must now isolate the TPWS, the driver's safety device and the brake pipe charging cut-off cock in a defective cab.